Just when you thought her character arc was going in one direction, it simply shifted gears to another. Tori Nichols has had an interesting transition from Season 3 to Season 4, and I personally loved how her arc played out this season. Despite being one of Cobra Kai's top students, there were clearly hints of both Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang that her character showed at times. Does she now know the difference between mercy and honor? This is why Tory has changed. Let's talk about her rivalry with Sam, her path to redemption, what the future holds, and more. Let's recap on what we know about Tory so far. Since this is a continuation of my previous video, The Problem with Tory, I'm only going to recap the events relevant to her arc in Season 4. Feel free to skip to the next chapter to avoid the recap, but be warned, you may miss important details I'll discuss later on in the video. This is also a two-part video as it goes hand in hand with the Why Sam Has Changed video, so be sure to check that out after watching this video for Sam's perspective. After an unsuccessful invasion at the LaRusso household, Tory resumes her training with Cobra Kai. Feeling that Robbie was never part of the team, she points out that he's straddling the fence and still feels something for Sam. This conversation leads to Robbie ultimately refusing to join the Miyagi-Fang alliance and become Cobra Kai. But before that fully happens, Robbie issues a challenge that if any Cobra Kai can hit him, he'll leave. He almost wipes out the dojo, but thanks to letting his guard down, Tory kicks him. She then convinces Robbie to stay, as he could be an asset to the team. Amanda LaRusso pays a visit to Tory to warn her about leaving Sam alone. However, because of a combination of an insistent customer, a tense situation, and the manager stepping in, Amanda indirectly causes Tory to get fired. At training later that day, Tory nearly gives in to her anger and retaliates against Robbie until Kreese puts a stop to it. After telling him what happened, Kreese pays a visit to Amanda to inform her about Tory's family and to leave her alone. Although trying to help Tory out, Amanda gets visited by Tory at the dealership and refuses the olive branch. Tory successfully finds a new job as a character actress at an amusement center and sees Sam while entertaining a birthday party. Sam begins to antagonize Tory and after retaliating, storms out when Sam purposely kisses Miguel in front of her. Amanda again tries to help Tory and tells her that the world isn't out to get you, and if she asks for help, she'd be surprised. Later on at the drive-in, Tory starts to slowly warm up to Robbie and calls out Hawk for betraying Cobra Kai. A stare-down ensues, ultimately resulting in Miguel inviting Cobra Kai to the baseball diamond for a fight, but it proves to be a trick as the sprinklers come on and douse the students. Silver and Kreese talk to Johnny and Daniel to come in agreement for no fighting before the tournament, but Robbie comes up with a plan, after an earlier conversation with Tory, to corner Hawk at the tattoo parlor and cut off his hair. Tory's Aunt Candace visits her outside the dojo, wanting another handout from her sister's disability check. Candace warns that she knows how to play the system and that Tory doesn't stand a chance to win a custody battle on her own. This prompts her to seek Amanda out for help, who agrees to sign a form to let Tory back in on the condition that she stays away from Sam and seek out guidance and therapy to help her. On her first day back, Tory attempts to either thank or apologize to Sam, but because of misinterpreting Aisha's advice, Sam threatens that she holds Tory's fate in her hands if she messes with her. As training for the tournament continues, Tory asks Robbie to the prom to throw Miguel and Sam off balance. They successfully do so by dancing to The Weeknd, and start to develop genuine feelings as they share the same desire to win something that's theirs. At Stingray's after party, Tory and Sam trade insults until Sam strikes first, involving both Robbie and Miguel into the fight. Tory and Robbie successfully defend themselves, but Tory falls into the pool with both Miguel and Sam. After celebrating their fight and enjoying themselves at the prom, Tory and Robbie share a kiss. At the All Valley tournament, Tory, along with Kyler, Robbie, and others, lead Cobra Kai to dominate the skills division. She eventually progresses to the quarterfinals and defeats da-eun by shady means, putting her into the semifinals. After realizing Sam has learned some new methods of her own, she stays focused and defeats Powers from Locust Valley Karate Club to meet Sam in the finals. Before her match, she makes sure Robbie is okay and runs into Amanda in the hallway. Expressing her gratitude for Amanda's help, Amanda in return asks for Tory to win the right way. In order to avoid history repeating itself, Kreese backs Tory up and tells Silver that she can win her own way. Tory gains the upper hand with a low kick and wins the championship, making sure Sam is okay. However, when on the way to grab her bag from the locker room, Tory overhears and sees Silver paying off the ref to rig the competition in Cobra Kai's favor. It can be assumed that in the meantime, Tory will still train with Cobra Kai and gain recognition as the new Cobra Kai champion. The first thing we have to talk about is Tory's rivalry with Sam this season. It's very easy to see that in the first 3 episodes, Tory was still upset about the fight at the LaRusso household and the overall rivalry with Miyagi-Do. And let's begin, we see Tory confront Robbie about not showing up at the fight. She still shows disdain for Sam and accuses him of still being wrapped around Sam's finger, which is partially true as Robbie is still neutral at this point. It's not until bicephally that we see the first direct interaction between them, and as we can see, Sam is the one provoking the situation because of Johnny's teachings. Outside of the first comment, Tory showed restraint and only retaliated when Sam made fun of her singing after goading her to do so. Considering her previous actions, tricking the kids into throwing glitter on Sam is pretty harmless in comparison. Amanda does bring up a good point after the confrontation. Sam dislikes Tory because of her previous actions, though Amanda also makes it a point to talk to Sam afterwards. Tory also intervenes in the potential rumble at the drive-in because of Robbie facing off with Hawk. Outside of trading insults, nothing much happens here. In fact, starting with kicks get chicks, Tory becomes more reserved and stays away from Sam as promised because of seeking help after the confrontation with her aunt. As I mentioned before, Tory sees Sam at school and either was going to thank her or apologize to her because of her family letting her back in. But Sam didn't trust Tory because of her previous actions and didn't want to hear anything from her. Although Tory's plan was to throw Sam off balance at the prom, somewhat a similar plan with Miguel in season 2, she begins to develop genuine feelings for Robbie and no longer cares about Sam and Miguel being jealous. This is a huge change from her character in previous seasons, as while she didn't like Sam from the get-go and would purposely kiss Miguel in front of Sam, she realizes that she cares more about Robbie than trying to get revenge on Sam and is too busy focusing on her own life. The confrontation with Sam at the after party only started because of a couple that walked away that stood in line between Sam and Tory. Outside of trading insults, Tory is again balanced and restrained in the scene. In fact, when Sam is attacking her in the initial part of the fight, Tory is only defending and doesn't throw a single strike. She only decides to attack as enough is enough when Miguel pulls Sam off of her. From what we see, she's only defending again throughout the rest of the fight, and outside of having her leg up, more than likely trying to counterattack, she is not as aggressive as Sam is in the scene. In the tournament outside of glances, she seems more surprised that Sam has learned to fight in a different style, and has more of a look as she's either thinking of a game plan or focus. She isn't angry at all in the semis. In a case of history repeating itself, Tory apologizes for the accidental elbow to the eye and swears that she didn't mean to, echoing back when Kreese ordered Bobby to take out Daniel in the tournament. After scoring the last point, Tory also does something uncharacteristic. She goes and checks on Sam to make sure she's okay. Again, we know her winning the championship is something she wants to do so she can prove to herself she has something that's just hers. Her concern for Sam is more important in the moment. This is a nice touch in the rivalry between them that shows that Tory perhaps is turning over a new leaf, something I mentioned that could happen in my prior video about her. Let's talk about something that surprised many of us, myself included, the start of Tory's redemption arc. Something that was briefly touched on in season 3 is that Tory ultimately has to fend for her family. Her mother is sick, her younger brother is still in school, and her father is nowhere to be found. When Amanda initially tries to get Tory to stay away from Sam, she indirectly causes Tory to get fired. This doesn't concern her until after Tory tells Kreese, her father figure and the only role model that's currently in her life, what happened, and he tells this to Amanda. Amanda realizes that Tory has it rough and tries to gift her food, but Tory refuses the help because she feels weak accepting it. However, Amanda is persistent, and after what happens at the birthday party, apologizes again and tells her that she would be surprised who would say yes if she asked for help. This is a seed that slowly sprouts and gradually changes Tory's attitude over time. One example is that Tory tells Robbie that it's none of her business what job she has now, but at the drive-in later, she begins to open up and realizes she can confide in Robbie. Although she claims mommy isn't around to play peacemaker again as mentioned before, Tory is fairly calm and restrained compared to prior encounters between her and Sam. Another turning point is that when she is confronted by her aunt Candace, she realizes that she can only do so much, Kreese can only help her so much, and she has to seek out help if she wants to take care of her family. This conversation is also important because even with agreeing to stay away from Sam, Amanda asked her to seek help outside of karate. Normally when she was confronted with this type of statement, notably with Miguel in season 3, when she misinterpreted this as calling her crazy, she would refuse to seek help or insist that she can handle it on her own. However, because of out of desperation for her family, she ultimately agrees to seek counsel as Amanda wishes. As she tells Daniel, she agrees to help Tory because it reminds her of her past. Tory is young and upset, just like she was, and wants to break the pattern to help her. Again, Tory even realizes the LaRussos aren't heartless and attempts to apologize to Sam. I think her developing feelings for Robbie also helped her character because they can understand each other. They both came from families that both lacked a father figure, they both got into trouble for their previous actions, and they both share a desire to climb out of the position they currently are in. Notably before her finals match, Tory runs into Amanda and confirms that she's been seeking therapy. Because of the pep talk to play by the rules, Tory fights aggressively, but doesn't resort to dirty tactics like her previous sensei Johnny would in the finals match, breaking the pattern. Kreese also has a hand in this because he visibly doesn't care for Silver's suggestion for Tory to fight more aggressive. When Tory accidentally elbows Sam, again as mentioned before, she expresses regret and apologizes. She also protests unit again at Silver's suggestion and claims that she doesn't want to cheat to win. Kreese also supports this and leaves it up to her to win how she wants to. Kreese breaks this pattern with Tory, and instead of coaching her to show no mercy like he would have with Johnny, he tells her that it's up to her. This is even confirmed by Silver when he says it's a first, when Kreese tells him he had a moment of sympathy. During the last part of the fight between Tory and Sam, the track Queen Cobra plays through the scene up until Silver finishes his speech. After Tory scores a point, briefly we hear a callback to a leitmotif of Johnny's dojo, the main melody of Quiver. This confirms that despite mostly training with Kreese more so than Johnny, at the end of the day the roots within her are more like Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do compared to Cobra Kai's teachings. While the cue is playing, it mostly shows Cobra Kai celebrating with Tory and their victory, but we know this motif is exclusively used for Johnny's students and not Kreese's. Even though she's excited about winning, it's clear that she's conflicted and can't believe that Silver paid off the ref to make sure Cobra Kai won. The last shot we see of her in the season shows her walking off with a worried look on her face. Since Kreese broke the pattern with her, she knows the difference between mercy and honor. Her win is tainted because the ref kept scoring in her favor. I would also like to point out that if you guys remember my breakdown of the Cobra Kai Season 4 teaser with the da-eun presentation, I predicted it was possible that since Peyton was on the same team as the rest of the actors in the skit, it was possible that she would be redeemed near the end of or after the tournament. At the time I found it hard to believe, but here we are. Here are my final thoughts on Tory and what we could see from her in the future. Like Sam, I definitely like Tory's arc for a few reasons. The first reason is that her arc in Season 3 wasn't handled the best in my opinion, as it shifted more towards Tory bad and Sam good, so bringing it back to those lines of gray really helped the rivalry. It really brought them back to the roots of the show, especially in Season 1 for example. It was conflicting on who to cheer for at the time. Miguel was the hero, but he became like those who bullied him. Robbie was up to no good, but he came a long way to where he is now. To me, that was the same way with Sam and Tory. Sam was one of Miyagi-Do's best chances of winning, but she became more antagonistic. Tory slowly came around, but Cobra Kai winning meant everything would change. The second reason I liked her arc is that Tory needed the win. When it comes to one-on-one fights with Sam, Tory either lost or was disarmed and was about to lose. To stay as a credible threat, Tory needed the win, and I think the show giving her the win was the right move to make. If Tory had lost again, what would be the point of fighting Sam in the future? The third reason is that the tainted win ties nicely with the character arc of redemption. Giving Tory a tainted win will make her character that much more compelling in Season 5. Will she stay with Cobra Kai as the poster girl, or will she side with Kreese? And on the subject of that, what will happen when she finds out about Kreese? We know that he ultimately was the only real guidance she had in her life. The show even foreshadowed that Tory would win in Season 3. Kreese said, with Diaz out, we're going to need a new champion. Someone with no fear and no mercy. And then the shot shows Tory. As I mentioned in my previous discussion with Ken, I feel like Tory will be upset with what Silver did and have more allegiance to Kreese than Silver. But then again, Tory did side with Kreese over Johnny, so we'll have to wait and see. I think it's very possible that Tory will ultimately find out that Stingray was responsible and try to force him to admit the truth to everyone to restore order. I would also like to see her fight da-eun again in either another tournament or in some other capacity. As I mentioned in my discussion with Ken, because of the crooked referee, Tory technically only beat da-eun by 2 points, and that leaves another tainted win on her record. It would also be nice to see a third female fighter be brought into the light with both Sam and Tory, and even a 1v1v1 would also be nice to see too. If Tory does leave Cobra Kai, I could see her joining Eagle Fang, as ultimately, Johnny was the one that taught her after Kreese left and alongside Kreese in Season 2, especially given the music cue during the final fight of the tournament. One thing's for certain, things are about to get really interesting for Silver's Cobra Kai dojo. And when it comes right down to it, people flock to winners. The Cobra Kai dojo had an influx of new students after the 50th annual All Valley tournament, and more likely with also the 51st tournament because people love winners. That's why you have to secure yourself with a 7-time champion like NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/StrifeTheWarrior or use coupon code StrifeTheWarrior to get a NordVPN 2-year plan with a huge discount. Here's why you need to secure yourself with NordVPN. You can use it to unlock Netflix and your favorite entertainment websites that are not available here in the US. You can connect up to 6 devices at the same time with one account. There's no data logging whatsoever, and it works even in China. If you're out and about and using public Wi-Fi networks in places such as coffee shops and airports, NordVPN will protect you with double data encryption for increased anonymity. Even if you're giving unauthorized haircuts, you really don't want unauthorized people looking at your data. NordVPN also works with Windows, macOS, Linux, iOS, and Android, has a Chrome extension which is very user-friendly, and unlimited bandwidth. If you're not happy with it for any reason, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN was a 7-time champion in 2021. Winning the Business Choice, Reader's Choice, and Best Tech Product of 2021 from PC Mag, Best Android VPN from Android Central, the Best All-Around VPN from Expert Reviews, Best VPN Service from Forbes Advisor, and App Development Team of the Year from App Promotion Summit. It's also the only VPN to get all the green checks on PC Mag. So what are you waiting for? Go to nordvpn.com/StryfeTheWarrior or use coupon code StryfeTheWarrior at checkout to secure yourself with NordVPN. Shout out to NordVPN for giving me the opportunity to be an affiliate. Let me know what you guys think down below. What's in store for Tory's future? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it, subscribe, share it with your friends, and comment, as these all help my channel grow. Be sure to check out and subscribe to my second gaming channel. I'm trying to get this channel to YouTube partner, and supporting this channel also helps me support my main channel. I'll be uploading some more clips to the gaming channel, so stay tuned for that. I also now stream here on this main channel on Fridays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Keep up with me on my socials via Instagram and Twitter. Shout out to my YouTube members, I appreciate the support. If you'd like to directly support the channel, consider becoming a member and enjoy perks such as behind the scenes updates, access to the VIP Discord, shoutouts and videos, and more. Thanks for watching, stay beautiful, stay awesome, and we'll catch you around next time.